Great.
Right.
So we're gonna start in a couple minutes.
What should be our quorum?
Sorry?
What should be our quorum? Should we
Oh,
reach
I know.
200?
It's already 20 people have dropped in. Yeah, where are you guys all dialing from today?
Me from Paris, London.
Nice. The European game is strong. I'll wait a couple more minutes. All right, we'll just give it a couple more, I think one more minute, and then we'll go ahead and get started. In the meantime, I have a lovely FP&A joke for you all. Why did the FP&A professional break up with the budget? Because it was full of unrealistic expectations. I know I'm the worst cheeseball.
I'm not asking if it was a male or female FP&A. That's a good
All
one.
right, well, well, I think let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about creating budgets that drive performance. I'm Julie, Director of Finance and BizOps here at Abacum. I have over a decade of experience in the finance space. So first at consulting at Ernst & Young, then banking and venture capital, and now as a finance operator here. I'm really, really excited to be joined by Adrien today. Adrien, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here with you. So I'm working as a finance partner with over 15 years of experience in finance ops and FP&A. So formerly in video game industry, now in the SaaS industry, working at Spendesk, a French fintech, where I'm right now empowering sales and customer success team with financial knowledge and driving ad hoc initiatives and projects. So happy to be here to talk with you about how we drive budget in an efficient way without AI, and happy to hear also from the audience any tips you can share.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we want this to be very interactive and would love for you guys to get involved. So if you do have any questions you'd like to ask or discussion points, please pop those into the chat and we'll try to address those as they come. To kick us off, we did a survey around some of the key areas people wanted to talk about, and one of the first ones was more general, like what are some of the key challenges that finance professionals face when it comes to budgeting season? Adrien, do you want to kick us off on that one?
I think budgeting, like every major task from within the finance team, or from anyone from like working close to the board preoccupation, is about stakeholder management first. So getting the attention, maintaining momentum with your stakeholder often is hard in the context of like departmental silos and sometimes lack of collaboration too. So this is one major challenge to me, as well as like collect data and having accurate data. Often it's hard to complete this data from the various departments and sources. That can be challenging too. And that can lead to flawed budget assumptions and projection. So yeah, getting to unrealistic expectation and assumption. This is hard to find. And yeah, as a RevOps, I would also suggest getting the proper tools and technology for budgeting is key. So if you stick to manual spreadsheets, it can be time consuming and error prone. So an inadequate technology can just hinder your budgeting process and reduce the accuracy again of the financial projection. But this is like the three main challenges I have in mind like that. What about you?
Yeah, so I feel like in my mind, there's one huge challenge, and it's trying to rise above what I call the process pains to focus on the business impact. So I feel like a lot of the conversation around, oh, like what's challenging about budget is very focused on process pains, like, oh, I have version control issues, or you mentioned like, oh, I have data issues. But these challenges I feel like are really secondary and can be fixed with software or, just a more robust process. When I think about like rising above these pains is how are you as a budget, I guess, process leader, or you're running the budgeting process, how are you rising above that to think about the impact of what you're going to do, right? And what I mean is, how do you prepare for multiple scenarios in your business? How do you understand the trade-offs in your business so that when you are off budget, which is going to happen in like 99% of the cases, you can quickly react? So I don't want to sound like insensitive, but from a business perspective, it doesn't really matter if you're burning the midnight oil, massaging version 75 of your spreadsheet. It matters that you spent that time fiddling around in a spreadsheet instead of challenging and validating assumptions with the business units, like building those scenarios and preparing your business for when it ultimately, falls off plan. So really step back and ask yourself, like, what are the business goals I need to enable, I guess, with this budget exercise? And from there, trickle down to how do you actually want to build the budget process? Like, what does the calendar look like? Who do you need to get involved? And what are the tools or data that you need?
Yeah, totally. No, this is the ultimate goal. I mean, to drive your budget into the business strategy and to embed all the stakeholder in that direction. I totally agree. That's main challenge. Mine were maybe more like daily blockers you may have to
Mm,
reach out as a target. Yeah, totally.
yeah. But I mean, Adrien, I totally get it. I feel like if you're in the day to day, you're often stuck there, right? Like you don't have breathing room to just step back and say, hey, how do I, what am I actually doing this for?
I mean, it depends also classical, but
Yeah.
everything depends on the size of the company. In like enterprise company or large companies, you'll find the bandwidth somehow somewhere. If you are working in scale up or SME as I am, yeah, people are just not available, which is also the case everywhere, but even more, I would say. And so to put them into this mindset of we're talking about your business, even so you have your team engine campaign starting tomorrow, and we are end of September. I need your feedback and on this strategical view of what will be your marketing expenses for next year. Also, this will help us together build the financial sanity of the company.
Yeah. And you mentioned that earlier as well, right? Like stakeholder management as being one of the key challenges. What are some of the learnings that you've come across when it comes to business partnering? Like, how do you get that, marketing leader to respond to you when that demand gen campaign is tomorrow?
I take that as any kind of project management. Like you start early, you establish clear timeline, communicate clearly with your stakeholders. This will help also with them set guidelines, align on templates. Well, that's my scale up approach. So sometimes you can't adapt template, and that's not a good idea. But if you want to get the buy-in, that's a good gesture to do. And then foster like cross-functional collaboration and communication with routines, cadence, also your review and update with them. And if needed, provide training, support, like really explain what is budget, because people just forget when they are not within the finance team what is a budget. Okay, so just state the obvious is always good, so that everybody get involved as a party, and this can only help. So this is for the part of handling the stakeholder management for budget, but very important then on your side as a finance team, you would care about the contingency. So you have to build those contingency and share them with the key stakeholders so that you're aligned and you don't conflict between each other at the not the right meeting, you know. So again, communication is key on the contingency. Being able to pivot at the end of the budgeting cycle, this would also be key. And yeah, and then document always when you agreed on something, so that your budgeting process is clear to for everyone, that the direction taken is also clear. So continuously seek feedback and yeah, areas to improve those budgeting processes. This is all how I used to do, how I think you can only improve from cycle to cycle, is to take it as a project management, so in a very lean approach.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe just a quick word on my end on business partnering. I think I've changed a lot since when I first started in finance. I think initially I had a very like cost controlling view of finance. Even the title, right? Like, oh, you're a controller, so you got to control the costs and make sure you have them in grasp and nobody gets to spend. And over time, I feel like, this phrase business partnering or stakeholder management has come up more and more. And I view it as finance is a service organization. You are there to enable business success and to allocate capital for the best business outcomes. And you're there to help your budget owners achieve their goals, of course, in the context of the broader company goals. But you're there to basically help them get the funds and help them get the budget they need to, you know, achieve your company goals and optimize their resource allocation. So oftentimes I see our role as like, how do we help you articulate your ROI? How do we help you justify your spend versus just, you're given this dollar amount, like that's it.
Mm.
So yeah, just to add a little bit onto that in terms of how I've changed a little bit from the say more junior can't spend, and I think it comes with experience, right? Like as you get, as you advance in your career, you have to defend your own spend, right? Like we have to defend buying software in our own organization. So being able to really articulate the ROI of every dollar or every headcount and so on and so forth is
Mm.
is really where I think we can bring a lot of service to the budget owners.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe could tie to the answer, I would give to Katarina, who is asking, what are your best practices for managing stakeholder expectation, especially when dealing with unrealistic assumptions? Are there or expectation during budgeting season? Yeah, I mean, what I used to do is, or having someone in the team do is, like have the top two contingency plan to just conflict people with what is really unrealistic or realistic. Just big majority of people, either they are visual or whatever sense they prefer, wants to see numbers and projections. So if you have the resources to do so and to just show them, okay, then I won't review all your expectation. If you have one, top two, this is where we would land. And with that, in the majority of cases, I could proceed on something more realistic with my stakeholder.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you?
yeah. And well, I think it depends. So if you're going like from top to bottom or bottom top, right? Like if the unrealistic assumption is an unrealistic target, I think that's very different to say, hey, you just have an unrealistic assumption. So let me start with unrealistic target. Um, there's there's two ways of approach this. Just flat out said no, like no, we're not doing that. Of course, you then have to have, let's say, the seniority to just say that. And the other is, okay, in order to do this, we would need this, right? Or in order to achieve this, we would need this. So, and then basically saying, hey, here's all the things that we would need. And as a business, if you say it's unrealistic and you just lay out, hey, here's everything that we would need, then what are the parts that are actually unrealistic that you can't, do? And maybe then you can tie that back. Okay, we can actually do this, and that will help us achieve this outcome. The other way is if your business owner, like your budget owner, has an unrealistic assumption and you're saying, hey, based on historicals or based on the market, like, I don't think this is real. That I struggle with a little bit because I would expect the business owner or your department leader to know better, to be honest. You are there again to partner with them and to bring them, let's say, external information or historical information and analysis. But at the end of the day, they must feel responsible for their assumptions and they must be accountable for their outcomes. So I would say you can challenge, but then, they are, at the end of the day, they need to give you that assumption. And, if they miss, it's like, hey, like their head is on the line as well. So just holding people accountable for their outcomes.
Totally aligned, totally aligned. What what I encountered just in small businesses is that sometimes very often you have to take people by hand, and this is one of the other challenge I would say from budgeting is getting like reliable and historical data from everywhere, like your stakeholder benchmarking. So this is hard to create an accurate budget when you don't have this data from your stakeholder, even when you're asking them to just rationalize their expectation, their assumption. So yeah, there is nothing better sometimes to just sit with them and push them to give those numbers. And this is how you can also drive your stakeholder in the direction you want them to be because you have to tie to, we didn't discuss that, but like well, you introduced that, but you have your business strategy and ultimate goals at the top, at the macro approach, and you have to tie that with a micro and operational budget, 1 year budget, 2 year budget, whatever. So you need to push in the right direction your stakeholders, because you have the wider visibility. So in a way, you shouldn't yeah, have a unrealistic assumption in your budget, because you're taking that from the field, but you should also push them, give data to go in the ultimate business direction.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Agree with that. All right. I know we had a lot of interest around AI, and how finance teams are using automation slash AI specifically, um, yeah, to basically improve whatever efficiency or, oh,
Mhm. Totally.
oh, yeah.
Um,
Do you want to start, Adrian, on how you are leveraging AI at Spendesk, or just in general, how you see finance teams leveraging AI?
Sure. I know our team is using AI when so mainly on the FP&A side, using looking for predictive analytics. So touching on AI algorithm to analyze historical data we have or external factors to generate more accurate revenue and expense forecasts. So that's one thing we do. There's also yeah, again on those predictives, to help identify the trend, seasonality, potential risk, always to, yeah, enable and better inform the board. And the other aspect we are using is to collect data. Don't know if we can say AI driven, but to automate the collection and consolidation of data from different sources, and ensuring that the budgeting process is based on accurate and up-to-date information. But even before using that, we ensure having a lean and seamless integration with all our systems. So with the NetSuite, with our CRM, Salesforce, HRIS as well, so to provide really the holistic view of the financial health. So this is how we do. I know there are other possibilities. There are many possibilities with AI, but I didn't experience. I played a bit, I must say, on my on previous experience, like on what if simulations, asking to run multiple scenarios and with those what if analysis to quickly choose the assumption. So this is something that we should really push toward the team, because well, it's also all about training on the right prompt usage, prompt optimization
Hmm.
of the team, so that you first know where to play with the AI to make them deliver your pains to the correct needs you have, and not just spread it everywhere. You have that first, and I think that's what we can testimony since 2 years now with AI within the finance team. We are taking control, and we must take control of that as any new newness, any new innovation to drive AI in the direction we want AI to help us.
Yeah. Yeah. So for us, I'm going to speak a little bit more broadly in terms of, I think in general for finance teams, there's three main areas where I believe it's useful. Adrien, you mentioned, I think at least two of them. One is the predictive analytics. Another is the pattern recognition or anomaly detection. And the third is where you have like volume intensive repetitive tasks. So I think, like you said, predictive analytics definitely has the most value, right? So if you can forecast your revenue more accurately, or even just sanity check, right? Like if you want to do a bottoms up revenue forecast, go go do it. Um, but then use AI to sanity check, your assumptions, your forecast and just have a quick second opinion, if you will, based on your historical data or ideally external data, right? Because I think it's easy for us to forecast using internal historical data, but then with the help of AI, you could actually merge that with, oh, like here's, our competitors' information, or here's, the just general market trends. That's very useful. With anomaly detection, so pattern recognition, again, this is more for like checking human errors or like fraud detection. So it depends again on like how much volume you have in your finance team.
And
And the
is it something
third, yeah.
is it something you're using during your closing, for instance, like really having those patterns controls?
So the predictive analytics and the anomaly detection is actually something that we have within Abacum. So we do use that. Well, actually, the anomaly detection is something that we're launching soon. And the third, which is like the repetitive tasks, so like the classifying the cash flow or AR and AP processing, we do automated classifying of our cash flow, for example. So you can learn like, oh, this is, operating, this is whatever financing. That's pretty easy, but actually you can make it even more granular, right? Like, oh, this is payroll. Oh, this is, this vendor, because sometimes the vendor comes in as like, yeah, just example, like Facebook, it's Facebook, then FB, then something else. So you can just start to aggregate those different types of vendors under categories. Um, yeah, so we do use a little bit in each one. I would say the easiest one to do is the first, like the repetitive tasks, right? Like automate away your repetitive tasks. And then with predictive analytics, like we are starting to use that. And then with anomaly detection, we're on our way to using that, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
One possibility also is the automated variance analysis. That's not something I tested, but maybe you did, or
Mm.
someone in the chat had an experience on like, yeah, trying to automate and explain variances between actual result and budget.
Funny you said that because so yes, we do have like an AI it's called like an AI summarizer, if you will, AI summary. So it will look at your budget versus actuals and kind of describe to you, hey, like revenue is whatever X percent, off budget because of these elements. So it's more like turning the information, the data that you have into words, if you will.
Mhm.
Which I guess you could consider as AI. Yes, it is AI, right? Because it is generative AI. It's turning, numbers into letters.
And that's a feature in Abacum within
Yeah,
your
that's right.
not in the new organization using another one.
So we use Abacum internally as
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
dog food. So yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
Great. Happy to see this.
Yeah. Oh, we have another question from the audience, Luciano. Sorry if I butcher that name. So one thing that usually happens to me is that the assumptions is too general, and as you get more granular, it's difficult to get a logic or for that build up. Well, does that happen to anyone else? Yes, I'm sure it
Yeah.
does. Yeah, Adrien, do you want to address that one first? Because you were nodding your head. It seems like you've come up on this a lot.
Yeah, that's typical. I won't state which profile tend more to give like to generic assumption, but yeah, again, I'm looping back to what you were saying about grasping the data from the owner. So you should generally try to investigate myself, find how this could be less generic, and but in the end, you come back to your stakeholder and you're asking for more concrete figures, more concrete direction, and you challenge, and If it's not enough, then you have a door in front of you, if I can say. Then you have to loop in other people to make it more tangible to your stakeholder and find a way to move forward.
Oh, wow. Yes, more. Katerina, you're on a roll there. How can finance professionals ensure that the AI tools they use are integrated smoothly with their systems and don't create more complexity? Well, I mean, I guess for me, it's like first step is to figure out, I think, where you can benefit most, right? Like where as an organization can you benefit most? Is it the predictive stuff? Is it the, more efficiency gains from like classification? Is it anomaly detection? And then honestly, talk to your existing software vendors first. I think if they don't already have something in play or not, or it's not on their roadmap, then that vendor probably won't survive very long. Now I'm making some very broad assumptions here, but I would I would venture to say that any proper finance solution is at least dipping their toes into AI. So first figure out what you need, then talk to your vendors. And if you really have a need that isn't fulfilled by one of your vendors, think about switching or getting a new one. Yeah.
Yeah, totally aligned with that. Kind of a generic answer, but always start with the why. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want to achieve introducing this technology? So identify your specific pain points and opportunities where AI can really provide the most value. Otherwise, of course, you would be appealed by the features, by the software being sold to you. You would implement all the features of the tool, which is not necessarily needed, and it would just create a data war, a complexity everywhere, generating new transaction sometimes without any useful analytics. So yeah, try to evaluate, select the appropriate tools and technologies, and to ensure like data quality in the end. And this is how important it is. And so not only for AI, for any new implementation of softwares.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Totally agree. You're very welcome, Katerina. So I'm going to go back a little bit to budgeting as the core topic of this conversation, and I want to get a little bit into spend management. I know we've talked about stakeholder, alignment. We've talked about how to use AI, and I think most companies today obviously aren't at a grow at all costs kind of phase, and so need to properly manage their costs and their spends, right? So how can finance teams really help the business manage that better? I think Adrien, this one's first for you for sure.
Not that I stick to the tools, but to me, it's the
Buy all
accessibility.
the software in the world.
The accessibility of your tool stack is key if you want an adoption and alignment within the business. To have this spend management plays fully its role and help in the budgeting process. So you need clarity and of the needs, the pains, identifying why you're using this tool, and if you don't have any why spend management is key to drive an efficient budgeting process overall. But once you have a tool, Spendesk or another, you need clarity and a reactivity in your UI because yeah, to drive the adoption of the tool. If you just have complex processes, reluctant UI, you will just lose everyone, and you won't be able to push for spend management being a key actor within your budgeting process.
What do you mean by, reactivity in your UI? Is that like alerts when you've overspent, or
This
what
and
is that? What
just
do you mean?
just the fact of having real-time data. So
Mm,
it's just a must now, or basic, but just pushing for having real-time data in your dashboard on the spend management. This is how you can embed personas like sales manager, people on the go, maybe driving 50% of your expense claim today. So if you don't have the proper, of course, implementation, but tool, you won't have the right adoption. So this is what I was meaning by reactivity. Yeah.
got it. Got it. I love that. And I 100% agree on, needing the right tools. I think, not to echo you here, I'm gonna just bring also, I think you need the right culture, right? When it comes to spend management. And I actually really love Netflix's expense policy. It's just act in Netflix's best interest. I feel like it's so simple. And then if you pair that kind of culture with obviously proper spend tooling, then I think you get the best of both worlds, right? You get like fast action from your stakeholders to spend where they need to spend, but also you in finance, or as as an executive, are also having visibility and clarity that people are actually spending in the best interest of your business. And like you get to understand, okay, where is that going? So just giving people freedom to, yeah, to act, but then also making sure it's not like willy-nilly waste, if you will.
Definitely, yeah, yeah, and so that's how we think. So at Spendesk, I mean, having the credo, like, we want to liberate people do their best job. So obviously, it's not by taking 1 hour a week doing your expense claim report. So hence why the company was funded, but hence why we are proceeding to give clarity, simplicity on this, I must say, sometimes technical topic of spend management, be it like taking into consideration, of course, like all the fiscal and all the tax requirements. But this is how we see things. People want to do value-added tasks, so this is why softwares can help on the budgeting process. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Software is eating the world, as always. Um, I have to, I was going to share something related to AI again, but I'll share it later. Um,
Go
it's the
on. I mean,
brain. Well, I'll share it. I'll link it later. But we were testing out AI for I think like a podcast, and it was just insane. Essentially, one of our sales reps, he put in our website into this, podcast generator, and it literally just spit out like a 5-minute podcast. So, this conversation that you and I are having, Adrian, could well be, two robots talking to each other soon, or it already is.
maybe we are already.
Maybe, you never know. Looks so real these days. It's scary. It's a tangent there. Well, I don't know if you guys have any more questions in the audience. Otherwise, I think, pretty good discussion here, Adrian. Is there anything that you want to add from your end?
Just maybe if we don't have any question, just a message like that from my past finance ops, finance controlling experience, and now more RevOps, also enablement, is you have to foster this culture of innovation and continuous learning in your organization. And if you're an individual contributor, just do that to yourself. And if you're a leader, organize trainings, as I said, on prompt usage, prompt optimization concerning AI, but just take care of this continuous learning with your team. This is what you will just have as a ROI somewhere sometime for sure from your team, and you always be pleased to see what you have in return as a short, mid, long term result.
Thanks so much, Adrien. And on that note, I'd also love to support you guys in your learning and point to our latest budgeting ebook. We have over 50 pages of best practices, I think very actionable frameworks and templates to help you guys in this budgeting season. Our team will link it in the webinar. Well, I guess our team will share it with you afterwards. Yeah. All right, that's it for today.
Thanks in advance for the sharing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you all. And have a good rest of the week.
Thank you. Bye, Julie.
Bye.